Welcome to Becoming a Principal, the podcast for aspiring educational leaders. I'm Jordan.
And I'm Matt. Our mission is to inspire and support educators considering their leadership roles so they can add value to the communities they serve.
How's it going?
It's Friday.
It's Friday.
We don't usually record on a Friday, eh?
No, it's very, very rare.
Yeah.
So we got a little, I guess, extra energy this week.
Yeah, well, you know what's funny? Like, we didn't mention it, but in our episode last week, we had to change gears pretty quickly from one situation we were dealing with to sliding into a podcast interview.
Yes, we did.
Today's not like that. So maybe our audience will notice something different about us.
Maybe, yeah. We had to switch gears, like you said. Task shift very quickly that week. Hope it still was good, but we weren't quite in the right headspace, I don't think.
Yeah, that's right.
To start it up, but
yeah.
We got a guest, though, and they saved us.
Yeah. Oh, good
right?
thing.
Good thing.
Steve was great.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so this week, what are we talking about?
We're talking about the traps that we fall into as administrators, as school leaders.
As school leaders.
There's lots of traps out there.
Yeah, let's start with this piece of data, and then we can talk about some of those things that happen to us on the daily, and how we can do a better job maybe noticing what's going on with us. But so last October, almost 4,000 principals and vice principals across Ontario took part in a survey, and the following stats were revealed, and there's one that, there's a few that stick out to me as being kind of problematic, but the one is that 92% of principals and vice principals feel their time is not spent related to student achievement. And as you know, our number one role is student achievement and improving student achievement, right? So right away, there's a bit of a flag there for the 92% of us, for the 92% of our time, right?
Big time. It's kind of surprising.
Yeah, and if we reflect on that, we could probably say that we've got some misses in our day, right? So what are some of those traps that we're falling into that is taking us away from improving student achievement or focusing on student achievement?
So just to flip that quickly, do you think that's, in your experience, is that accurate, or do you see like how it could easily happen where you only get 8% of your time to focus on student achievement? Like, do you think it's easy to understand how that could happen in the role you have?
Well, I would say it's both accurate and easy to understand, because you have days where your focus is on it, but then it goes sideways, and then you just can't get it back, right?
Absolutely.
Not necessarily because it's in your control or out of your control. Just sometimes and your mind wanders elsewhere. But maybe we can talk about that a little bit.
For sure.
Yeah.
And I would say there'd be complete days where there's zero focus on student achievement, depending on the day.
Depending, yeah.
And I guess I think that'd be similar for an elementary and secondary school. There could be days where literally you had no focus on that. Right? Total blackout days.
Total blackout, especially
for student achievement.
Depending on how many administrators are in your building, what they're all dealing with that day, or what they're working on, all those things.
Which is wild. So what are some of the, I guess you already kind of asked, but some of the traps or things that kind of suck us in that are not like basically student achievement? So what are some of the traps we encounter that take us away from that primary role of being the curriculum or instructional leader in a school?
Yeah. So the big one for me, and we have it here in our show notes, is the email prison, where you're trying to knock off, it's almost like, for me anyway, it's like a to-do list. So sometimes I get CC'd on emails, we get CC'd on a lot of emails,
yes,
I should say. And I feel like that's for information only when I get CC'd on an email, but I still read it and file it away. But when it's addressed to me, I feel like that's an action I need to do. So that becomes a to-do list for me. So it's getting to my to-do list, which is really my inbox, which doesn't necessarily need to happen in the moment. I think that's the biggest thing. So when I'm going through emails in my office and another email comes up, maybe I'm dealing with that sooner than I need to deal with, because, again, it's that satisfaction that I'm getting through all my emails, but that's happening while students are in the building.
Are you a zero inbox guy at the end of the day?
No.
Have you ever been?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't need to go there.
Yeah, neither have I.
Yeah.
I thought about it one time.
It's impossible.
Didn't work out.
I think I got 50,000 emails in my inbox.
It's pretty bad. Yeah, I would say like it's easy to get caught in just like working out of your email. Like that becomes your work.
Yep.
Because there is so much there to attend to and respond to, and that's a huge trap. And I think I know for sure myself, I think I create that problem a little bit myself. Part of it is proactive, right? I noticed this when I first started as VP, is that like you want to initiate things, so you send an email. Well, guess what? That email is going to come back with a bunch of emails back.
Yeah.
So then, is the alternative to not initiate things? No. So you're kind of stuck, right? You're going to initiate, but then that's going to necessitate responding to the responses. So it's kind of like a catch-22, right? But prioritizing that is a big skill that I think all of us in leadership still struggle with. If anyone's got a good answer for that, I'd love to, if you let me know what that is. But I definitely get stuck in that trap of working out of my inbox. That kind of maybe can dictate my day more so than things that I should put on there first, do those things, and then get to the inbox.
Yeah. I do have like something I heard from one of my friends is they had a third-party firm come through and set up everyone's email, and they did like an investigation, I guess, on how people use their time in management and how they use their email. And the company was trying to make everyone more productive. And the way they structured their email is that if he's CC'd on anything, it goes into a certain folder. Where if it's sent to him, it goes into his primary inbox.
Yeah.
And it just helped him, that one change, get through his day a bit better and be more productive on the day. I wonder how that would go here.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
For us, yeah.
Do you have any Outlook inbox rules that you've established so far? Like where if it's sent from someone, it goes to a certain folder. Have you done any of those?
Only on things I really don't need to be part of. For example...
not your junk folder.
No. Like when
anything from Jordan goes straight to the junk? Don't tell me.
Right. I'm not going to share that here. Like, for example, a permit for the use of our facility.
Yeah.
Right? A lot of those come through, and I don't need to read those.
That's right.
Right? So that goes into a certain folder. Yeah, so cool. Some items that I don't need to read, but we're part of that mailing list, those go into certain folders.
I've got a few rules that I've put in mind, but my favorite one is I've established, because we have some forms that we've created for people when they're requesting personal days or leaves or whatnot. And I want to make sure that I get to those as soon as possible, although I'm not always perfect at doing that, I'll admit. But I set the rule so I get a chime. So I'll get a little notification, like an audio, like ding, ding, like a little thing. So I know that, someone's requested it personally. I want to get to that quick because I think it's important to do that. And it goes to a separate folder. Yeah. So it doesn't actually, I never see it in my inbox. I have to select the folder. So the chime alerts me to, I better check that out. Because sometimes those things come in not always a timely fashion.
Like you have a priority inbox,
Yeah, that's my priority, but I haven't set a priority for anything else. That's pretty much it. Personal day requests. There you go.
Staff appreciate that.
I guess so, yeah, it's not bad.
Now, okay, let's back up for a sec. So we know this is a problem. Let's talk about something we tried in the last week and a half.
Yeah.
Which was getting out of our office, and some of you others may have seen this online, but using the mobile office idea. And you want to share how that went for you and what you tried?
Yeah, so first, I only did it for one period so far, ever. I mean, we've been out, but the actual mobile cart and whatnot, we went out, and I think we went out the first day at the same time.
Yeah.
And we have 3 floors in this building, so I took one floor, Matt took another floor. Admittedly, Matt took probably more of the nexus point in our building where there'd be more traffic, student and staff traffic. I took a little bit, I took the top floor there where there's a little less traffic typically. But in any event, it was wonderful to be in the hall, like present in the hallway during class time. And we got to meet a lot of students that are, either leaving their classroom to go access some student supports, or they're leaving to use the washroom or whatever. And it was great to have some sort of informal conversations with students that way, because a school our size, especially as administrators, to have it's kind of odd, to have a one-on-one conversation with a student in a hallway is almost impossible, right? Like, I think of the times where all the students are out, so many students, right? So this provided us a little opportunity to have an informal check-in with some students that sometimes we see in our office, but just in a less, more of a non-threatening way, where we're kind of in their element, in their hallway, in their school, in our school, instead of like in our office. Mm-hmm. So I did appreciate that, and it was nice. It gave us a perspective of what's kind of going on in classrooms, how many students are, might not be in class, what supports they're accessing and when, the time. So it was really fruitful. I want to keep doing it. What about you?
Yeah, well, again, I only did the 2 periods.
Yeah. Almost 2.
That's right, almost 2. Had similar experience, obviously. The other piece to that was, just having the more positive interactions with students, because I'm not necessarily there having a conversation about discipline with them in the hallway, right? So you're seeing them in a different way. And then again, connecting with staff. And a lot of people recognize what was happening, right? So at first they're like, is something going on that we need to know about?
Yeah, which is sad. But
what's that?
Which makes it a little sad, because it means we're not out there.
No, we're not there enough.
Right? And we want to be, but we're falling into some traps where we don't do
That's right. But on the flip side to that, when we shared what we were doing, they're like, oh, that's kind of cool.
That's right.
Right? So I think that that's something that we have to continue. Yeah. And I had a lot of positive interactions with staff, where I connected with them in an informal way, where they were sharing something with me or asking a question, and it was just like, it was a one-on-one quick check-in that now they don't have to send me an email, right? It was a little more personalized.
Great point.
And I was more accessible to them, because we weren't stuck at the front of our building in the office, where they're less likely to come and see us.
A lot of barriers to that, right?
There's a lot of barriers to them.
And as much as we are, I think, an inviting bunch, it does take some effort to get down there. Teachers are busy, staff is busy, so to make time to come down to the office specifically just to check in and send the off chance that you're available, that doesn't always happen, right? So being there in their space where they do frequent is very helpful for that kind of conversation. So yeah, it's something we're going to continue for sure, and we're going to prioritize it, right, Matt?
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to prioritize it. That's the goal. All right, what's your next thing you got there?
Okay, well, we were going to also talk about how we're changing the office a bit too much, but I'm just going to glaze over that, because let's assume we were doing our emails from our office, and not as accessible as we would have liked. But the next thing we were going to share is how we feel like we need to respond to everything quickly. Again, like I say,
huge trap.
How my inbox was kind of turned out to be a to-do list at times. I'm sure that teachers appreciated, or whoever was sending me an email appreciated how quickly I got back to them in those situations. But at the same time, I need to do a better job of thinking about what's urgent and what I can push down the line, and dictate my day around that in a better way.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm very guilty of trying to respond to things quickly, and what ends up happening is when I prioritize them equally, I sometimes miss the ones that should be answered quickly, and I respond too quickly to the ones that could wait, right? So I feel like that is conditioning also people to expect a quick response from me as well, which is a high expectation for me, and then gets me back in the cycle of I need to respond, and I need to respond fast, right? So breaking that cycle is hard, and I think becoming better at what needs to be dealt with as soon as possible is, again, it's a skill, right? And not living out of your inbox. So like if you're working on your computer, for example, and something comes in, you might feel compelled to respond to that right away. It's like tempting. It just pops up. There's actually like a little window that comes up at the bottom of your screen that you see, and you go, oh, maybe I'll respond to that because you happen to be working on something else. All that task switching is probably not efficient. I think there's some science on that for sure. So how do we kind of ignore that because I was actually focused on something else? But sometimes I have some squirrel moments where I'm like, oh, that person emailed me, I better get back to them.
That's a quick one I can take care of, right?
Yeah, but that's your to-do list again.
Yeah.
Because you think it'll help me down the road, but you might have just lost so much in that focus that you were working on something else, right? So are you guilty of that too? Sometimes you see that pop up?
Yeah, absolutely. And again, it comes from the need to support people.
Yeah.
Right? And thinking that that's the best thing. And I'm just going to, blend this with my next thinking was about falling into the trap of being the help desk for people. Mm-hmm. So how much are we working to empower other people to solve their own problems or be able to make decisions on their own in scenarios where they can do that versus they got to run something by one of us first or one of our other administrators or I'm losing my train of thought here. I'm having a squirrel moment myself. Or
are you thinking about like basically having the answer for everything that someone brings to you, or getting the answer for whatever comes your way?
Yeah.
And it's you feel compelled to find the answer, right? And so that's you being the help desk. So yeah, I think we are all guilty of that too. Like I know I feel like sometimes I know I can get the answers, so I say I can help, but maybe I'm not the best person to get the answer. Mm-hmm. Maybe we should, like you said, have a way to maybe point the staff member in the right direction to get an answer from someone else who might have that answer, or to help them find the answer themselves, right? Because it feels good answering people's questions. I don't know. I just feel like you're helping them. It's like if you're a helper, it's the generally way that you operate. But if you fall into that trap of feeling like you need to do it all the time, you're going to be swamped.
Absolutely.
Right? I'm sure you felt that.
Yeah. And, it's that whole balance of being like that servant leadership, I think, which is so important, and that people do feel supported, but they don't necessarily feel empowered then, I think, if we're always helping them out in a certain way.
Absolutely. And I often think about, what, and again, this is only my second year as principal, but I think a lot about what happens when I'm out of this community. And not that I'm like really thinking about that, but what have you given people once you're gone, right? What skills have you helped them develop for themselves? How have you empowered them to be something when you're not around, right? And that's a big deal, right? Because that has it's probably a better gift to give than to just be the person that has the answer for everything.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Right?
That's a good reflection.
And because that means I would love for someone to step in here when I'm done and just like it's going great.
Right.
And people are empowered and people are doing what they need to do. And that would be the best case scenario, in my opinion.
Yeah. Okay. Do you have any more for us?
On the help desk part?
Or another topic?
Oh, you got one more there that I thought was kind of interesting. The traps, the meetings.
The meetings. Was that one of mine?
Or was that me?
I think that was you.
I don't remember that, but I
don't remember either.
But yeah, I think we can definitely fall into the trap of needing a meeting. Like when I think about teachers, their time is very defined, right?
Yep.
They have classes in high school. They have blocks that they teach, and we know that they're busy during that time. So like when we send emails to teachers, we understand that like we're not getting a response quickly. Like we do not expect it quickly. Mm-hmm. They're teaching. They're busy. When they come to us, they probably think, they're administrating. Maybe they're downstairs on their email, so we do respond quick. But what we fill our times with sometimes is meetings.
That's right.
And, we feel like maybe, this is really, it's not to justify what we're doing, but sometimes not everything requires a meeting. It could be, an email. It could be just some type of communication that doesn't necessitate a whole meeting, because that can clog up a lot of time too. Like we think about some of the meetings that we're involved with a large number of people, that we got to, I think, really evaluate how productive that time is, and specifically our role in that meeting. Mm-hmm. Are we necessary in some of the meetings that we're in as well? Right? Or is everyone that's there necessary in those meetings? Because I know we do some big meetings sometimes, and is that like high yield for the people that are there? And like who doesn't have to be at this meeting? We should probably think about that, because they don't need to be there.
Right.
Release them. Let them go do something else that they're impactful doing, right?
Right. So
I think we need to do a better job of assessing that. I feel that anyway. And sometimes I feel some of the meetings I'm at, I'm just there as a figurehead of sorts, but I'm not really leading. I'm not really contributing in some cases, depending on what the meeting's about. And so in some cases I feel like, I'd be probably better off on my rolling cart out somewhere. What do you think?
Yeah, and to that point too, is that I think some meetings go too long.
Yes.
Even when I have a meeting with a parent, I'm working on navigating how to, in certain situations, make that meeting shorter based on like how we schedule that meeting, like creating more of a defined time with that parent, and maybe setting some expectations ahead of time, just so the meeting stays within that time, within that window. Because, like you're saying, some of the meetings we have, like there's no need for me to meet with a parent for an hour most of the time.
Correct.
Right? That is running too long. So there's a balance between hearing the parent out and then moving things along, so it's a productive meeting too. Because if the meeting stretches out for an hour, there's a lot of filler in that where it's unproductive, like you were saying. But depending on the family that you're working with, maybe that time is necessary too. So it's about feeling that out and working with the family to figure out what's the best next step.
It's a great point. Right. I love the idea of setting parameters or timelines, especially when you have like that kind of meeting, like a parent meeting.
Yeah.
The ones that trip us up are probably staff or just the drop-in ones.
The drop-ins, yeah.
Where there really was no definition of what the meeting was going to be about. And you're basically, it's like if someone like came to your house and they just started hanging out, and it's hard to tell people to leave your house sometimes, right?
Yeah.
But when you're a guest, you can control like your exit and your entry. Like, I'm leaving now. But as the host, you're kind of stuck,
that's
right?
A good analogy.
So how do you kind of push that along without feeling like, you're being rude about it? Like, because there are times where we do that, and you do want to hear people.
Yep.
Because they're coming to you for a reason.
Yep.
And you want to listen, but how do you move it along in a way that's productive, like you said, and you've heard them, and efficient, right? Because there are other things that we do definitely that will be on our schedule that we need to get to. But I think scheduling is a good idea. Like, but how do you say that? Like, it sounds weird. Like, book a time with me. It's, I don't know.
Yeah.
For people that you work with routinely,
I don't like
it's
that
not.
idea
It's not. It's a little impersonal, right?
Yeah.
So you need to kind of. That's a little bit of an art.
Yeah, we'll come back to that one.
Yeah, the art of impromptu meetings.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's a good one. I like that one.
All right, so when we're thinking about this topic and talking about productivity and really facing that stat of how do we spend more time on student achievement. I come back to James Clear in his book Atomic Habits, and he wrote an article that's titled "The Only Productivity Tip You'll Ever Need," and basically. The premise of the article, or it starts out with, we often assume that productivity means getting more things done each day. He says that's wrong. Productivity is more about getting the important things done consistently. So no matter what we're working on, to maintain the productivity is don't worry about speed and how fast you get things done, but it's about what are you spending the majority of your time on. And for him, for this to be effective, the thing we should do is prioritize the most important thing in our day and do that first. Get that out of the way first. Because if we're always, crossing off that we've completed task 4, 5, and 6, we still haven't completed task number 1. And that's a bit of a problem. So how do you feel like that strategy could fit into your day if you prioritize the most important thing and got that out of the way first?
Yeah, I think if I had a blank slate and I felt like I had complete control over my day,
yep.
I would, one, want to check in with staff. That's a priority for me, to see kind of where the building is at early, and get in a few classrooms, be in the hallway.
Yep.
I'm not doing those things, though. But that would be, if I was being honest, that's where I think that would be the high yield spot to be. And, a good reflection. Maybe that's what we're going to do.
Yep.
Right? Do you feel better? Because I know you do a loop, too. I feel a bit more, not like I did my job, but I just feel a bit more settled and connected. I think connected is the word, right? Because you can get disconnected just hanging out in your office.
Yep.
Right? But when you go out with the people, with everybody, our students and staff, you feel a bit more like part of what's going on. I guess your investment level goes up too. You're like right in the thick of it with people, and just that presence and listening to staff, even just the small talk, right, in the morning to set the day right, I think is huge. Mm-hmm. Like, to me, it's a big priority. I don't know about you.
Yeah, and for me too, the way I think about it is I got to hit a different section of the school every day of the week, just so I can connect with everyone over the course of the week. And I think that's manageable right now. So I need to push myself into something that I'm not doing. Like you're saying, maybe get into more classrooms and spending more time in the hallway, like with our mobile office idea that we've since started. Not our idea, but an idea that we've taken, and do more of that. Continue to connect with people in informal ways. But let's see how I can get into the classrooms more.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like the experiences that we do have in the classroom, are very enlightening about what our student experience is like. And, you and I have talked about this before, but we see students in a certain context, and there's a connotation when students are in the main office or the principal's office or the vice principal's office something's not, it's not for a good reason. That's the general perception. That's not always the case, but that's a perception, right? So seeing students in their element and learning, I find just so, it's a wonderful experience, because we end up sometimes with them in situations that aren't great, where maybe they made a poor choice, and maybe there's a consequence for the behavior that they've had, and they're not in the best place sometimes. But watching some of those same students in a classroom and watching them as learners is beautiful, because you're seeing like a whole side of the child and what their experience is like learning. And it's a really fruitful experience. It was for me in a few cases, like this year already, watching them as learners as opposed to their social being in an environment as teenagers. It's very different, right? In my mind, it's very different. They look different. The way they appear, the way they act in the classroom is different, right, than how they're in this social experiment with all these students, right?
Right.
So I think getting in the classroom is super important.
There you go. Well said. All right. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
Okay, so let's wrap this up.
Wrap it up.
Thank you for listening to Becoming a Principal podcast. We are grateful for the time you have spent with us today, and we hope we've been helpful to you in some way. Be sure to check out our Instagram at Becoming a Principal podcast. Have a great day, everyone.
Take care.